go and hunt for some matches, so I'll see you later.
Yeah, right, so how would you have a look there?
Oh, the Brables are over there on the right, the red ones.
Out here, what?
Yeah, so you can
Yeah,
get this
okay.
one. And I'll just tell her. I will be a little bit late. I'm just running out. I'll be back in a sec, and I'll try and get people in anyway.
In that case, I'll get to the far side.
So.
So, how are you? I'm fine, thanks, yes.
Here we are, Michael. Yeah. You've got the choice of a couple. That's right. Well, that's right. That's good. We've got the choice. Yeah. Big age. Okay, I shall sit here. See you in a minute, Mark. All right, okay. And then 1950s, no, it's not a couple of what have we got? I suppose some. I'm just going to go somewhere, you know.
Okay. Right. So, we're going to start because I know our friends online have been waiting very patiently. We are running a bit late outside, but I think that is all fine. We can deal with that. They'll come in a bit later. So, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Those of you in the room, you're all very spread out. And those of you joining us from Zoom as well, from far away. Before we even start with the prayers, we start with Ma Tovu, and we'll open the ark doors. Ma Tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishknotecha Yisrael. How good are your tents, your sanctuaries, O Jacob, and your homes, those of you joining us from home, O Israel. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Yes, prayer books are over there, and if you don't mind, could you close the door on your way to your seat? Thank you so much. So, we've just created holy space, or acknowledged holy space. We want to make holy time as well, but before we do so, I just wanted to read a meditation which you can find on page 10 in your prayer book. Okay, page 10. Because I always feel on Friday night, somehow I feel incredibly rushed. I'm never ready for Shabbat. Shabbat is a time of rest, and I don't feel ready for it, let alone for prayer. And Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, the very bottom of page 10, says, forget everybody and everything during your worship. Forget yourself and your needs. Forget the people of whom you have need. Then in truth you may worship God. When you offer prayer, imagine yourself as one who is newly born. I love that one. Without achievements of which to be proud, without high family descent to make you arrogant. Forget all dignity and self-esteem. Remember only your Maker. Before the prayers, remember any good qualities you have, or any good deeds which you have performed. This will put life into you and enable you to pray from the heart. And that indeed is what we say a service is. It is worship from the heart. So we made this holy space as one with Zoom and in the room. Now it's time to acknowledge holy time. And Rosemary, would you like to light the candles for us?
What page is the actual?
What page is it? 447. But the prayer is on the little thing there. Yes.
447.
447.
I will forget what you write the candle first and say it.
You do the candles first,
Yeah.
because then you cover your eyes.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you like a haircut? If she wants to,
You wished.
Baruch atah Adonai Elokeinu melech ha'olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom shalom.
So, and I do want to remind you, of course, that although this is a reform service in the reform space, it's service for liberal and reform. And, whatever your tradition, That's what we follow. So if you are used to stand at a particular time, please stand. If you don't, then don't feel at home. All okay, Rosemary? Oh, yeah. Well done. So, the biggest struggle with lighting the candles is lighting the candles. But you did it. So we turn now to one of our songs for Shabbat, and that is Shalom Aleichem. So traditionally, it is this sense that we bring in the sense of holy beings among us, the angels. But on Shabbat, it's that real wanting of peace and making Shabbat special. So do join in with me on page 104. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lochem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachi HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Normally there are 6 psalms for Kabbalat Shabbat, but we will be singing only one of them. And I must say my favorite, is Psalm 96 on page 112. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, sing to the Eternal One a new song, which is of course very interesting because we're just before Kabbalat Shabbat is meant to be right before Shabbat really starts. And so to sing a new song is actually creating something, right? So you're not supposed to create something on Shabbat. So, but the idea that, yes, with Shabbat, we change a little bit. Things are anew. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, sapru v'goyim kevodo b'chol ha'amim נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה. הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. הבו לאדוני משפחות העמים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותיו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אף תיכון תבל בעצימות, ידי נמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומלוא יעלו שדי בכל אשר בו. אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, שישפוט תבל בצדק ומאמונתו. די 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 Die, 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 die. The universal language, die, die, die. That's the best. So we turn now to page 121, Lecha Dodi. And always when we sing Lecha Dodi, I have in my mind this picture that once was described to me of the mystics of Tzfat going out for Kabbalat Shabbat, out into the hills to literally bring in Shabbat. Shabbat described as a bride, as a queen. And so at some point there is our tradition and a Reformed tradition, but if you feel like it, you're welcome to do so too, at the very last part of Lecha Dodi, to actually stand up, turn to the door and bow to the Shabbat queen coming into our midst. And one of our members who sadly passed away during the pandemic, he was always there, particularly on Shabbat on Friday night. Well, Shabbat morning too. And whenever I asked the kids, did you see anything? Children looked at me and he would say, oh, I saw a beautiful lady coming in. So who knows, you might see the Shabbat queen. I always believe secretly he was a mystic. So, page 121. Lecha Dodi likrat kahala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kahala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo v'zachor בדיבורך תשמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Top of page 122. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שדברי. כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עצרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Well, I hope we feel the Shabbat bright in our midst. Yes? So now we turn to a psalm really for Shabbat on page 124. Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Psalm 92. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך רנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. We now turn to page 127 and for the Baruch. And so for Reform, it's our tradition to stand up and to bow. Liberal, I'm not sure what you do, whatever you feel comfortable to, that's what you do. So on page 127. And let us turn and read together in English this beautiful blessing that comes after the Baruch Hu, known as Ma'avir Aravim. Blessed are you, our God and Creator, Sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening twilight, who opens the gates of dawn with wisdom and with foresight makes times pass and seasons change. Your plan sets the stars in their courses in the sky, creating day and night, turning light into darkness and darkness into light. You make the day fade away and bring on the night, separating day and night. You are the ruler of the hosts of heaven. Blessed are you, God, who brings on the evening twilight. Ahavat olam. Beit Yisrael, Amcha Hafta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, uvkumeinu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach v'naloz b'divrei toratecha, u'mitzvotecha v'chukotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב את עמו ישראל. We have come now to the Shema. And once again, we have different traditions. If you want to stand, you can stand. If you want to sit, you can sit. The halakha says you can say the Shema whatever way you want. So we sing the Shema and the Haftarah, and then we have some silence for the traditional second and third paragraph of the Shema. You can read it, you can use it for your own thoughts. But we will all then come together again on page 134 for the Mantiskol. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Ba'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavecha, b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha, v'hayu advarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibata bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, ולכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשתם להורות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. So we have a couple of minutes silence to read paragraphs or for your own thought. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני Adonai Elohechem. On the next page, all this is true and firmly held by us, that you are a living God and no other exists, and that we are Israel, your people. You perform great deeds beyond research, too wonderful to tell. Your children saw your power, praised and thanked your name, and willingly accepted your rule over them. With great joy, Moses and Miriam and the children of Israel answered you in song, all of them saying, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh nora tehilot Ose Fele Nora Yosef Vele. Our living God, your children saw your rule over the sea of reeds. All of them, as one, honored you as sovereign, saying, Adonai Imloch Leolam Bael. Adonai Imloch Leolam Vaed. And it is prophesied, for the Almighty has set Jacob free and rescued him from a hand stronger than his own. Blessed are you, God, who rescues Israel. Source of our life and our sovereign, cause us to lie down in peace and rise again to enjoy life. Spread over us the covering of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel and save us for the sake of your name. Be a shield about us, turning away every enemy, disease, violence, hunger, and sorrow. Remove the temptation that awaits us and the guilt that lies behind us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are a God who guards and protects us, a ruler of mercy and compassion. Guard us when we go out and when we come in, to enjoy life and peace, both now and forever, and spread over us the shelter of your peace. Blessed are you, God, spreading the shelter of peace over us, over your people Israel, and over all the world. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. So now we turn to the Amidah on page 140, and please stand if you can. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'Elohei imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Rivka, ve'Elohei Yaakov, ve'Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, קונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גואל לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, פוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומציר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמנת לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. The right side of page 143, אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. You made the seventh day holy to your name, as the end of the creation of heaven and earth. You blessed it above all other days and made it holier above all other times. And so it is written in your Torah, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצנה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, שים חלקנו בתורתך, סבנו מטובך, שמח נפשנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעובדך באמת. והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו, באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, וינוחו בה כל ישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Our living God, be pleased with your people Israel, and listen to their prayers. In your great mercy, delight in us, so that your presence may rest upon Zion. Our eyes look forward to your return to Zion in mercy. Blessed are you, God, ever restoring your presence to Zion. מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צורנו, צור חיינו ומגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך לספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלאותיך וטובותיך שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, המרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, כי מעולם קיווינו לך. ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם ויתנשא, תמיד שמך מלכנו לעולם ועד. וכל החיים יודוך סלה, והללו ויברכו את שמך הגדול באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam V'tov Beinecha Levarech Et Amcha Yisrael B'chol et u'b'chol sha'a Bishlomecha Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Tasim Leolam Baruch Ata Adonai Hamavarech et Amo Yisrael Bashalom. We keep some minutes silence for the meditation. Say shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol bnei Adam. Say shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru. Amen. Got wrong a little bit there. Please be seated. Our parasha that we will be reading today is Parashat Vayishlach, a beautiful and particularly meaningful parasha to read at this time when Israel is still at war and the world really seems in such chaos. The story really is about Jacob, who meets up for the first time after 20 years with his brother Esau. Esau, whom he wronged terribly. Esau was so angry that he said he would kill him. And so how will these brothers meet each other? How will they put their differences aside? And what we see is that there is a lot of fear among these two. And of course, before they meet each other, Jacob is left on his own. He's sent everybody over the river Yabok as they cross into Esau's territory, and he's been told that his brother is coming with 400 men with him, and he's terribly frightened. And then he's met by a stranger in the night, and they fight. And that's where he gets his name, Israel. It's a very enigmatic story. We're not sure what it is about. And there is so much that we can get out of it. As I was preparing for my sermon, I came across a Dvar Torah written by someone for JTS, for the Jewish Theological Seminary in America, in New York. And he wrote, I think, a really interesting Dvar Torah, which I have shortened, so that's a bit easier to share tonight. But I wanted to share it because I thought there were so many things that resonated with me. So this is written by Gordon Tucker, who is the assistant professor of Jewish philosophy. And he writes, the story told in Parashat Vayishlach of the meeting between Jacob and Esau is well known. But a closer consideration of the details of the tale speaks to very contemporary concerns. The overall backdrop of the scene is the pervasive feeling of fear. Esau, Jacob learns, is approaching, and there are 400 men with him. Is it a lavish welcoming party? It's not unheard of in the Middle East. Or is it a prelude to belligerency? Are the loud sounds that they're making just the sounds of 400 excited people from a demonstrative culture, or are these the cries of war? Jacob assumes the worst, and he has a reason to, of course. He didn't bother asking the messengers who reported Esau's approach whether the 400 men were armed or not, but presumably they were, because people would be in those days. Jacob reflexively got ready for battle, and our rabbinic commentaries make his preparations even more vivid, dividing the camps so that he could fight without risking losing everyone, and preparing a path of retreat just in case. And what was the cause of his premature readiness for attack? Genesis 32, verse 8 tells us, Jacob was profoundly fearful and felt as if he were hemmed in. Vayitzar. Did he have reason to fear Esau? He certainly had reason to fear Esau of 20 years ago, whom he had robbed of his blessing and his dignity. But did he have reason to fear today's Esau, whom he didn't know at all, except by projection in his own mind? Jacob didn't think in his paralyzing fear that it was at all necessary to ponder that question. Very good question, isn't it? And while we're on the subject, did Esau have anything to fear from Jacob? That's not at all far-fetched. Jacob had, after all, shown himself in the past to be unscrupulous and uncaring about his brother. And he just may have heard about the many grown sons of Jacob, some of whom were tough guys, able to take down an entire city, as it later turns out. It was an explosive moment as they approached each other, each fearing the other and expecting the worst. The rabbis tell us that when Esau ran to Jacob and embraced him and kissed him, it was a moment of divine intervention in which Esau's hatred was miraculously turned to love, despite himself. Well, there was no doubt a miracle here, but given Jacob's deep-seated fear, it seems that the miracle was rather that Jacob did not interpret Esau's running towards him as an act of war, and have his sons, in concert with him, shoot a barrage of arrows at his brother and his men. What horrors could that scene have eventuated in? And yet, we have to recognize that given all the ingredients of panic, it is indeed a miracle that blood was not shed that day. We are not strangers to how mutual and pervasive fear and mistrust across the lines of race, across the lines of policers and policed, across the lines of occupiers and occupied, created conditions for tragedy and perpetuation of hostility. And miraculous escapes of the kind the Torah treats us to in Vayishlach have neither been forthcoming nor very readily imaginable. But what Jacob's story teaches us is that there is a terrible and dangerous deficit of understanding and of trust and of generous faith in what we assume are the motives of those who look, talk, and live differently from us. And this is what urgently needs to be addressed. The public figures who have said so are not giving us platitudes. They're speaking the truth, though it will not be easy to accomplish it. First and foremost, because it requires us to go beyond our comfort zone and beyond the ingrained fears we may not even know we have. It takes honesty, determination, and courage, not miracles. thought it was very powerful piece. And of course, fear is particularly what divides our society at the moment, and makes us all retreat within ourselves. And it is a scary world we live in, and yet we have to be able to face our Esau's at some point, because I truly believe at one point we have two sides, have to meet one another, have to listen at each other, have to confront their own fears and their anger and their pain, because that's the only way there can ever be peace. And peace is inevitable. That's what Mageni Non said when he came to visit us many months ago now. Mageni Non is a peace activist whose parents were killed on the 7th of October. And he still goes out here in England with a Palestinian to speak about peace. Because he says, it's not whether there will be peace. He says it's when. And so we have to work and struggle with this as well, and try and face our Esau's too, wherever they may be. With that, we turn to the Aleinu. Aleinu, which is of course very much a prayer of hope. So on page 310, and we'll stand for it as well. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ ועל הארץ מתחת ein od. And on page 313, therefore, Almighty God, we put our hope in you. Soon let us witness the glory of your power, when the worship of material things shall pass away from the earth, and prejudice and superstition shall at last be cut off, when the world will be set right by the rule of God, and all humanity shall speak out in your name, and all the wicked of the earth shall turn to you. Then all who inhabit this world shall meet in understanding, and shall know that we are all partners in the repairing of your world. Kulanu betikun shutafim kulanu betikun olamecha. For yours alone is the true kingdom, and only the glory of your rule endures forever. So it is written in your Torah, the eternal shall rule forever and ever. So it is prophesied. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו We live our life, yet hardly know its nature. For from a mystery we come, and to this mystery we return. The death of those close to our hearts grieves and humbles us. It reminds us that we all must die, like grass that grows in the morning, that grows so fresh in the morning and in the evening fades and dies, so we end our years like a sigh. Let us think of those who died at this time in years past. In Mosaic Liberal, we remember Martin Gelman, father of Janine Spencer, Richard Groom, father of Jackie Groom, and father of Zoe Groom, Joy Katz, friend of the community, and Betty Kay, mother of Anthony Kay. And in Mosaic Reform, we remember Albert Convisser, father of Brian Convisser, Arthur G., father of Arnold G., Daniel Perry, husband of Hilary Perry, Elian Edgar, adopted father of Andre Elian, Hans Greenfield, father of Janet Lee, Margot Pollack, mother of David Pollack and Jeanette Liebling, Ralph Hart, father of Steph Barnett and husband of Eve Hart, Rose Marber, mother of Elaine Sinclair, Sarah Bloom, mother-in-law of Marion Bloom, Victor Allen Silverstone, husband of Linda Silverstone, and Irene Flaum, mother of Philip Flaum. Zichronam Livracha. How can we accept the reality of death? By remembering the goodness of our loved ones and by shaping our lives after their example, for the memory of the righteous is truly a blessing and an inspiration for all our days. May our lives be always worthy of their memory. And let us say, Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shmei Rabbah, Balma Divra Chirutei V'yamlich Malchutei, B'chai Echon V'yom Echon V'chayei T'chol Beit Yisrael, B'agala V'zman Karif V'imuru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach La'alam U'la'amei Almaya. Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי די קודשה בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה די אמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה בחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם ואמרו Amen. Please be seated, and Stefan, I'm looking at you, if you can share some announcements with us.
I will do my best. First of all, I'd like to, Shabbat Shalom, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank Rabbi Kathleen for leading the service tonight. For those of you commemorating the loss of a loved one, on behalf of Mosaic, we wish you long life, free from further sorrow. It's a fairly quiet time of year. You wouldn't believe it looking in the shops at the moment, but religiously it's fairly quiet at the moment. So have a look at the website, see what's going on. Services tomorrow, Reform service at 10:30, led by Rabbi Kathleen. The Liberal service is at 10:45. Led by Susanna Alexander, and I think that's about all we've really got today. So with that, I'll hand you back to the rabbi for either Yigdal or Adon Olam.
Well, it's up to you. Yigdal or Adon Olam? Hands up for Yigdal. Well, overwhelming. Adon Olam it is then. I'm sorry, you're in the minority, I'm afraid. So Adon Olam on page 320. Yeah, that one, indeed. 320. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, בטרם כל יציר נברא אדון עולם, לית נשא כחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם, אדון עולם, אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נפרע לנסה, כחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא אדון עולם, והוא היה, והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם, אדון עולם, אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נפרע להתנסה, כחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכביר אדון עולם, בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמזרע אדון עולם, אדון עולם, אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נפרע להתנסה, כחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצור חבלי ביום צרה אדון עולם, והוא ניסי ומנוסי, מנת כוסי ביום מקרא אדון עולם, אדון עולם, אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נפרע להתנסה, כחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, בידו אפקית רוחי, ותישן בעיר אדון עולם, ואם רוחי כבייתי, אדון לי ולא ירא אדון עולם, אדון עולם, אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נפרע להתנסה, כחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. Wonderful! You can all join the choir. So, let us stand for the final blessing. Yevarachenu Adonai v'yishmerenu, Yair Adonai panav eleinu v'yichunenu, Yisa Adonai panav eleinu v'yasem lanu shalom. May God bless us and keep us. May God's face shine upon us and be gracious to us. May God's face turn towards us and give us and the whole world peace. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom on Zoom. Linda and Rania and Stefan. Stefan, will you do Kiddush online? Good, thank you. Shabbat Shalom and travel safely. Shabbat Shalom. We will go outside and do Kiddush with our Masorti friends.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I say everybody, all three of us. It's a small but a select crowd tonight, I think, would be a fair comment, I think. Yes, Kiddush. So, do you want me to share? I can share screen for Kiddush. Let me share my screen a second. Right, sharing screen. There we go. And I can hopefully see people. Let me just get that right. Lovely. And, right, so, Kiddush. Got it there. So if you have some wine, orange juice, tea, coffee, gin, vodka, whatever is your fancy. But there we are. Right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'rotzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'havav rotzon hinhilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש. זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה ורצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
I don't know if anybody's got challah there. No? Rania? You got challah?
No, I've got a teeny weeny piece of gluten-free bread.
Well, I'll do a teeny weeny piece of the blessing then. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Well, Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
I hope you're all well. Good
Yeah.
to see you, Rania.
Good to see you too, and Linda.
Yes. That's it. So next week, I think we now go back to being totally on Zoom. I think the only time we'll be doing these hybrid services is if we've got something happening at the shul, such as Shabbat Beitenu. So I think the next one will be, I think, second Shabbat in January. So I'm assuming that we'll be on Zoom for the next 3 or 4 weeks at least.
Yeah.
And I think next week, I think will be, if I'm right, is reform-led, because this week was meant to be liberal-led, but because Rabbi Daisy hasn't been that familiar with our services in the synagogue and Beitenu, I think Rabbi Kathleen and Rabbi Daisy swapped last week and this week.
Yeah, they did.
So next week will be Rabbi Kathleen on Zoom. The week after that will be somebody from Liberal on Zoom. I've no idea who. I don't know if it's Rabbi Daisy or not.
I don't know. I've got a Stevenage service that day.
Yeah, well,
I know Rachel's doing our service on the 28th and Daisy's doing it on the 21st.
Oh, so next week. Oh, you mean that's on the Saturday?
Saturday, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Because I know Kathleen won't be here on the 28th, so I think Linda Holman and I are doing the reform service, and as you say, Rachel. So rabbis all seem to vanish this time of year. I don't know why. But there you go.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Shabbat Shalom. I wish you all Shabbat Shalom. See you all again soon, as
Yeah.
usual. Have a safe journey home, and we'll
Thank
see you all
you.
soon. Shabbat